Hi there summoners, GuardianE here with another live reaction and first impression video for Fire Emblem Heroes, and tonight we are getting the reveal of the next set of seasonal units, some special heroes that are going to drop in just a couple of days into the game, and of course this is going to be Summer 2, the second summer banner of Fire Emblem Heroes in 2023. So I've got the silhouettes pulled up here that were revealed just yesterday on the FEH official Twitter account, and on the left there is undeniably Ivy. I mean, I think everybody has that kind of pegged as Ivy there. Pretty unmistakable silhouette, and I can't wait to see what she's wearing and how her art looks in the actual trailer. On the right, I think that could probably be Veronica. If this is going to be a partial Engage banner, the other part of it is probably going to be original Fire Emblem Heroes characters. That's kind of how it's always been each year, that one of the banners does have sort of at least half of it dedicated to that. So we could get like an Engage/Heroes banner here, and I think that's what we're probably going to be getting. But let's go ahead and pull up the trailer, watch it together raw for the first time to see the character reveals, and then give it another once-over to sort of evaluate the banner as a whole, along with the art and the skill. Alright, let's get this show on the road. Summer 2 incoming. Let's see what they got lined up for us today. That telltale music, cherishing the sparkling sea. Special heroes to battle. And first up on oh, there she is. Tidal Breeze. That's a cute little hat. I like it. It gives a little bit of ladylike flair. The umbrella, the little parasol, keeping those sun rays out of her eyes. Okay. Cool. Oh, that's cool. I love the bubbly animation there. Nice. Alright, so we can... Oh! Fjorm! Seaside Thaw, okay. So that's the silhouette. I was wrong. Oh, she's got a little Fey ball. Icebound brand. So she's a sword unit, actually, which adds a lot of diversity to Fjorm Emblem. How many versions of Fjorm do we have? We have quite a bit at this point. She's looking very, very graceful, very appropriate looking. Oh, Tharja! Beach Dark Mage. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Love that she keeps her cloak too, and the actual little crown. Okay, alright. So she's actually going to be the 4-star focus hero. The 4-star focus hero with a trace skill at that. Wow. Wow. So she's cavalry. That's an interesting take. Okay. Seasons of Life. So we are Ymir and Air. That's an interesting pair. Not really one I was expecting either. Bump, 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 bump. Enjoying the weather. Oh, did you see her, Oh, you got, like, sunflowers popping up? Oh, that's pretty. They're, like, covered in sunflowers. Alright, duo skill. Neutralizes any penalty. Okay, we'll take a closer look at the skills and everything after the fact. So it is a hybrid of... Well, no. I was gonna say it's like a hybrid of Engage and Heroes... And it is, but there's a little Awakening thrown in there too. Very curious, very curious. And no Veronica either, which I know a lot of people were kind of assuming that we were going to get a Veronica. Although, Parallel Story Summer 1st, there is still going to be some unit here, right? Who is that? That is an infantry axe unit, and I can't tell 100% who that is. I'm sure it's revealed in the in-game notifications, but we're not going to stop to take a look at that. But there is a free unit. That's an axe unit, apparently. And then starting on the 7th of July and going for an entire month, and this is going to run concurrent with Summer 1, as is tradition. Every year, that's typically what happens. Summer 1 goes pretty long, and kind of overlaps with a good portion of the Summer 2 banner that we have here. So Summer 1st. Tharja, again, is going to be the 4-star focus unit of the banner, And it's a very interesting selection. A lot of like fan favorites, of course. Tharja, super popular. Ivy is definitely going to be popular here. Fjorm, I think, also has, just generally speaking, gotten more and more popular over time, and I think rightfully so. They've incorporated her in a lot of ways into the story and into the Forging Bonds in a very, I guess, compelling way. And then and Ymir, which I think is an interesting choice. I don't know. I mean, I like the designs of both Ymir and It's kind of unusual to have them as a duo just because of how the story unfolded with the Forging Bonds, you know, and Air's ascended version, right? And how that all kind of came to be. I mean, again, you have that luxury with like this sort of multiple worlds and different versions and timelines to kind of play around with that, but it is just kind of like I guess a kind of a unique pairing. But all right, well, I gotta say right out of the gate, I mean, I'm going to be summoning. I'm definitely going to be summoning. I absolutely want Ivy and Tharja, like no questions whatsoever. I would certainly like to get Fjorm, and the duo is appealing as well. So first up, we got Ivy as a flying green tome unit, art by Kaboon. I actually didn't recognize it out of the gate that this was Kaboon taking the helm here with Ivy, but she looks fantastic. Love the stylish, bold swimsuit design, really fitting for her. The hat is quite stylish. I like the parasol with sort of the petal design on top too. Really nice contrast. She's holding a little cocktail there, very colorful, very tropical, and then a nice unique little dress design trailing behind her too. That's nice and transparent. Still shows off the body line and kind of her attractive figure and physique. All in the right places, but still, again, has sort of an elegant flair to it. I think it's very fitting for Ivy, and Ivy is very popular. Now, Ivy is an Engage unit, and this is going to be her first version in the game as a seasonal, so, I know there are probably some mixed feelings about that. People have been clamoring for an Engage banner, which, I mean, I would expect us to probably get one very soon, but I keep saying that and it never happens. And so we have a new hero banner this month, so this could be the breaking ground of our second Engage banner for a new hero banner this month. But at least for the time being, Ivy is currently seasonal only. But I have no doubt that we will be getting another version of Ivy in the game. She's just well, she just looks that good, and she looks that good here. So absolutely fantastic job on her art. I think she is absolutely captivating. So once again, Ivy is going to be a green tome unit. Her weapon is going to be Divine Drought. 14 might, has a killer slaying effect. If unit is within 3 spaces of support partner. Oh, so it's one of these. Okay. Unit can move to a space within 2 spaces of that ally. At start of combat, if unit is HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants +5 to all stats to unit during combat, and also if unit initiates combat and unit is within 2 spaces of support partner, or penalty is active on foe, grants the following effect to unit during combat based on how many of those 3 conditions apply. If greater than or equal to 2, unit attacks twice. Okay, a brave effect. If 3, deals damage equal to 15% of the greater of unit's attack or foe's attack, excluding AoE specials. So that's a kind of an interesting option select. I would expect her to have pretty powerful attack, but in the event that her opponent actually has more attack, that means that she's going to actually be able to take a fixed damage that scales off of her opponent's attack. That's kind of interesting. So it is going to be a support partner application here, and it's going to have one of those warping effects where she has effectively unlimited range. So we've seen historically and in the past a unit within 2 spaces of the unit you're controlling. You can move within 2 spaces of that unit within 2 spaces. And even that effect makes a unit able to traverse almost the entire map in a single turn, or at least reach and attack the entire map in a single turn with a ranged unit. This is just even more huge, because you have 3 spaces within 3 spaces. She can move to within 2 spaces of that ally, which is huge. Now, The distinction being that it has to be a support partner. So that is limiting, and that does kind of limit her utility to those particular team compositions where she is, paired with a support partner. But that being said, it's still a very powerful tool, and that is kind of standalone. That's just by itself. If you're not interested in that warping effect, even though that does have a lot of utility to it, the rest of it doesn't hinge upon that at all. It's kind of an island. Because you have the killer slaying effect, and then you have the other elements to it, which is the stat boosts, which is just an HP condition. And then as long as she's initiating combat and within 2 spaces of a support partner, or, I guess the support partner is a part of the second piece. But if you don't have a support partner at all, you can still have the Brave effect. So that's kind of the thing. If you can technically go partnerless. If you want to bring her into battle without a partner, she'll still actually do pretty well because she's still going to have a Brave effect as long as she has a penalty active on the foe and she's initiating combat, right? And then, but if she's with a partner, she's just going to be that much better because she has the additional mobility and she also has the true damage that scales off of either hers or the enemy's attack. Glimmer for the special, which, low cooldown special to be paired with a killer slaying effect like the weapon she has. Stillwater 4, it's a good choice. If she's going to be a Brave attacking twice in a row, then she doesn't necessarily care about speed unless she's quadding, which doesn't seem to be her repertoire, so it looks like she's just focused on dealing a lot of damage or tanking a lot of damage or doing a lot of hits, scaling off of her res, stuff like that. Alright, so we've got Sabotage Attack Res 3 for the B slot. It's okay. It's alright. It's going to inflict a debuff on the enemy, which is helpful for meeting the condition of Divine Drought. But there's a lot of ways to get a penalty. You don't have to necessarily rely on Sabotage to do that. And it's okay. It's decent. But I feel like the B slot is just such a powerful asset in a unit's kit that I don't know if it's the best choice for her. And it's probably going to be pretty flexible and replaceable. Soaring Guidance for the C-slot. So this is actually going to be inheritable, a new C-slot skill. Infantry and flying allies within 2 spaces of unit can move to a space within 2 spaces of unit. Grants attack speed +3 to infantry and flying allies within 2 spaces of unit during combat. And also, if those allies' speed is greater than foe speed, neutralize effects that prevent those allies' follow-up attacks during combat. Really? Okay. So at first I was concerned because I saw the little foot there in the icon, and when I see guidance, I immediately think of grounded units and their synergy with flying units. But what I really love about this skill is that this will work with flyers only. This is actually really good. This is kind of a side grade to goad skills. And not only does it provide almost the same level of buff as a goad flyer skill, it adds just increased mobility and the ability to neutralize preventing follow-up attacks. That's really, really solid. That's actually a really strong skill, and one that I could definitely make use of. So Ivy's looking better and better here. I think overall her kit seems strong. It's a little niche with what she does. Cool off. I love that quote. Love the tropical fish, the explosion of water. She kind of has the brim of the hat covering her eyes a little bit. You do get to enjoy and admire the frontal view of Ivy here and the bicolor palette of the swimsuit with the dark purple, the deep purple, and the black, and the matching hat. Really, really nice. And then you've got all the little bubbles and stuff. Next up, we've got Fjorm as an infantry sword unit, and once again, sort of a unique weapon movement combination for her. So that's actually going to create some diversity for Fjorm emblem. I love that she has a little Fae plushie or Fae ball. I'm not sure which that is, but it's very precious. She looks great. The swimsuit design itself is very, very flattering, reflecting her original colors. Meishima Shigeki doing the art for her, which is the original artist for Fjorm. So that's a great callback. And you have the little feather designs coming off of the cuffs on the high end of her arms there, adding a little bit of flair. Flowers in her hair, very, very pretty. Bright, beaming eyes, just a joyful smile smile on her face. She's wearing a somewhat daring two-piece halter top design up top. Looks really fitting for her. The sort of a leather belt hanging off of her hip. And then, of course, the blade itself that she's wielding has a little bit of a tribal look to it. It looks like it has some organic, wood parts to it, and some sort of ethereal, maybe crystal elements to the blade, not really sure. Some starfish and shells hanging off of her belt, too. I think she looks really great. I think the art looks pretty awesome for her. They did a great job. So she has Icebound Brand, maybe a callback to Freed, I'm not sure. 16 Might, Killer Slang effect. If foe uses a ranged weapon, neutralizes effects that prevent units' counterattacks during combat. Okay, that's useful. If foe initiates combat or foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75% at the start of combat, grants +5 to all stats to unit, inflicts penalty on foe's attack and speed equal to 20% of unit speed at start of combat. Oh, okay. Inflicts special cooldown charge -1 on foe per attack, and reduces damage dealt to unit by 5 when foe's attack triggers unit special. So this is, again, playing into sort of the archetype that Fjorm is known for, that as sort of like a ranged tank unit since her inception, and borrowing aspects of her Ascended version, for example, with the whole neutralizing effects that prevent units counterattacks during combat. And that's, again, going to be pretty critical there. Getting these stat boosts is definitely going to be useful, and having the fixed damage reduction is going to pair very well with her special, which presumably has not only, percent-based damage reduction, but also probably fixed damage reduction stacking. So let's take a look at Frostbite Mirror here. It's a 2 cooldown special, which is going to be just a 1 cooldown special with her weapon. Reduces damage from foes' attacks by X%. If foes' range is equal to 1, X equals 10, and if foes' range equal to 2, X equals 30. Oh, okay. So she gets enhanced damage reduction percentage based upon the enemy's range. After special triggers, unit's next attack deals damage equal to the total damage reduced by any source, includes other skills, resets at end of combat. So there's this like bide effect. At start of combat, if unit special is ready, unit can counterattack regardless of foe's range during combat. So that does provide her, with a distant counter built into her special. So that's not the first time we've seen that, but it is relatively rare. It's not something that's baked into her weapon. It's not baked into her A-slot skill or a unique skill. It's actually a part of her special, and when the special is ready. So at the start of combat, unit special has to be ready for that to take effect. And I do see that she has Spurn 4 down there and Times Pulse 4 down there, so naturally I think that she is going to be kind of built around having her special ready at all times. So we'll see in a second. But Attack Speed Finish 4 is an excellent skill for an infantry unit to maximize attack and speed stat, as well as getting some healing, some survivability added into it. It's a great skill, and it's going to go very, very well with her, especially since, again, she's going to have some penalties on the enemy that scales off of her speed stat, which is quite strong. Spurn 4. Okay. Inflicts speed defense -4 on foe during combat. If a skill compares unit speed to foe or ally speed, treats unit speed as if granted +7, right? So a phantom speed effect. If unit speed is greater than foe speed, it reduces damage from attacks during combat and from AoE specials by percentage equal to difference between stats times 5. Max 50%. If unit's HP is less than or equal to 75% and unit's attack can trigger unit special, deals +5 damage when special triggers. So okay, she gets a little true damage action there. If foe's attack triggers unit special, unit's next attack deals +5 damage, resets at the end of combat. Okay, alright. So it is interesting that the offensive part of the last effect of Spurn 4 has an HP condition that doesn't seem to impact her because her special is on the enemy phase, and the enemy phase portion of it does not have an HP condition. Again, interestingly enough. So she's probably going to get that +5 damage because she's going to have her special ready to proc and it's activated on the enemy's attack. So she's going to enjoy that. She's going to get attack speed defense, and then she's also going to debuff on the enemy. And then the additional phantom speed is going to help her do more damage with Icebound Brand, and that speed scaling fixed damage or speed scaling debuff, excuse me, that's built in there. And then of course you've got Times Pulse 4 for the Sea slot. Naturally, with this kit, Frostbite Mirror only has a 1-turn cooldown. So either it's max, like either it's charged or it's not charged, and if it's not charged, Times Pulse 4 will take care of that. So effectively, she's going to always have Frostbite Mirror charged. She's going to have wanton amounts of damage reduction built in. She's going to counterattack with a lot of the sustained damage that she prevented, and it's going to enhance her attack. On that enemy phase, she's going to be able to counterattack ranged units and even protect herself even more from ranged units, just because she has more debuffs and more damage reduction against them. She's going to heal when she attacks. She's going to have debuffs on the enemy. She's going to have buffs to herself, especially if they're ranged. And not only that, she's going to get some additional fixed damage as well from the Spurn. So all in all, like a really cohesive kit, comes together really well, and relatively unique too. I mean, again, sword infantry units are kind of a dime a dozen, but Fjorm, I think, is a little bit more unique in that this is definitely a Fjorm version of an infantry sword unit. It's definitely like a Fjorm unit first, before it is an infantry sword unit first, because it fits the archetype of kind of what we know Fjorm to be in all of her incarnations thus far. Although it has aligned a little bit more into the meta, where infantry units are all about maximizing that speed and stacking all of kind of like the ridiculous infantry only skills that they can use, which does mean that you could probably build her a multitude of different ways. I mean, Spurn 4 and Times Pulse 4 obviously work very, very well with Icebound Brand and Frostbite Mirror, but if you wanted to, you could certainly swap in certain skills to take advantage of her attack and speed stat and general tankiness that she comes with by default, because I could definitely see some kind of disgusting combinations out there for that. So, and there is Fjorm looking very graceful. You get a better look at the detail of her swimsuit here too. Little feathers kind of sprouting from her footwear, which is really nice, a nice detail. And certainly a better look at the sword too. So it is an ice blade, and it has kind of these wrappings around it, again with this tribal motif. Pretty cool, pretty nice. And then attacking in, it looks like there was a little bit of frost coming off. And here is Summer Tharja. I guess it was just a matter of time before we got a summer version of Tharja. Kind of surprised it took this long, to be honest with you. But she is a cavalry blue tome unit. Like I said, I really enjoy the fact that she's still wearing her cloak. The bikini, very, very flattering. The red suits her very nicely. She still has sort of a gloomy look. You have the shadow that her bangs cast across her eyes still, and she still has like a little bit of a kind of like a devious, creepy look in her eyes. Then you have her long flowing hair sort of twisting and traipsing behind her. She looks like she's holding some seashells. So it looks like she might be collecting seashells on the seashore. She's got a jar. She's holding that next to her. Obviously, Tharja known to be full-figured and gorgeous, and this is no exception. She fills out the swimsuit very well. Plenty of eye candy on display, but still has that dark streak that we know and love from Tharja. So Seashell Bow Plus, this is going to be an inheritable blue tome, 12 might. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants attack speed plus 5 to unit during combat, inflicts speed res minus X on foe during combat, where X equals 25% of unit's HP at start of combat, max 10. Okay, and restores 10 HP to unit after combat. Not bad. I mean, it's not bad as far as Blue Tome inheritables go. It's got some decent effects. But again, I don't think anybody's going to be summoning just for this tome. With the introduction of rearms, it's kind of hard to justify, pulling for any other, regular weapon inheritable. Drawback for the special, Speed Res Far Trace 3 for the B slot. That's actually really good. That's actually still a very solid B slot skill, with actually very coveted stat debuffs to it. The speed res combination is definitely going to be a coveted one for a Far Trace version. And again, having it on a 4-star hero, this is going to be an easy way to get this skill. It's still quite useful, even with all of the sort of counters that they've introduced to Kanto in general, and the fact that it is, Kanto remainder and not Kanto remainder plus 1. Even that notwithstanding, it's still a very, very good B-slot skill, and having it this accessible, not very good. Attack speed gap 4, that's, not really all that useful, but Tharja as the 4-star focus unit of the banner, has a decent weapon. I mean, it's not outstanding or anything. As far as inheritable weapons go, it's decent. I would have loved to have seen her get a unique weapon, even as the 4-star focus, but she didn't, and it's okay. It's serviceable, and her B slot is awesome. And the rest of it is just okay. I mean, drawback you can get, there are many sources of drawback. I think the real boon here is that for those that love Tharja, you can plus 10 her with relative ease. Again, being the 4-star focus unit of the banner. And she has some decent stuff. If you need Speed Res Far Trace 3, she's not a bad source for it. That's for sure. So yeah, alright, that's Tharja. And here's her attacking art. I love the flower petals in the air, matches the flowers in her hair. And speaking of her hair, you can actually see the different layers of colors in her hair as they kind of flow back behind her as she's with the momentum of her launching herself forward like that. The cape is kind of billowing a little bit too. Really nice shading and lighting across her soft skin here. Really does accentuate her natural curves and tone. Really comes together nicely. She looks great. She really does. And finally, we have the duo of Ymir and Air. They are going to be an infantry colorless tome unit. That is an interesting pick. Love the dichotomy. So usually with duo units, they often kind of pick contrasting characters in style, I think. And I think that certainly is the truth here as well. I think they've deliberately picked characters that kind of contrast with each other to strike a nice little visual balance. Although what I will say is that Ymir and Air, they're like just the artistic style of how they're drawn is so dramatically different too that it's kind of like it's kind of stark, because Ymir has those giant baby blue eyes just sparkling in the sunlight with a huge open grin, and then Air is a little bit kind of more reserved and realistic in terms of her facial features and style, so that it's just like an interesting contrast between the two, naturally speaking. But overall with their outfits too, I think they're matching really nicely. Air has aired on the darker colors here, which is very fitting. This is of course before her ascended version, so she's still kind of like the dark princess, or the princess of death, kind of having that edge to her with the darker colors and sort of the softer frills. It looks really attractive and nice against her fair skin. And then of course she does have a little bit of colorful flair with the flowers, the pink and yellow flowers around her and at her hip. And then Ymir, by contrast, is all about the life, so she does have the green bikini to represent that. She has the sunflowers behind her sprouting up where she's walking, kind of like a wreath of flowers and leaves kind of stretching over her head too. She has a cute little sun hat with a blue bow in it, and there are actually little bluebirds holding her robe up a little bit that she's wearing over her two-piece. It looks like she's enjoying a tropical drink directly out of the coconut, and there are 2 straws in there, presumably one for her and one for Air. And they both look great, notwithstanding the style contrast between the two. I think they both look fantastic, showing off the beach bods. Really, really nice stuff. So once again, colorless tome, Sparkling Sun, 14 might. Killer Slaying effect, if unit is within 3 space of an ally, inflicts attack res minus X on foe, where X equals 30% of unit's HP at the start of combat plus 6. Max 18. Oh, wow. Wow, 18, alright. So that is going to scale off of her HP stat. That is quite interesting, but max 18 is huge. And unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack during combat. Okay, very nice. Reduces damage from AoE specials by 75%, and restores 10 HP to unit after combat. And also, if foe can make a follow-up attack during combat, reduces damage from foe's first attack by 75%. Alright, so she's going to enjoy some damage reduction and some healing for the sustain, also some damage reduction against AoE specials, which is probably geared towards ether raids and summoner duels type of tactics. The guaranteed follow-up attack is always going to be solid, and then the debuff on the enemy condition is very, very easy with within 3 spaces of an ally, and the up to 16 is quite significant of a debuff to attack and res. That's pretty huge, and that's actually going to increase her sustain and her survivability that much more. You got Moonbow for the special, which again is just going to be a 1-turn cooldown with the Sparkling Sun, and then Fire Flood Boost 3 for the A slot. Alright, okay, so a boost tier 4 skill grants HP plus 5, which is interesting because, again, her Sparkling Sun scales off of her HP stat, I see. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 50%, grants attack res plus 7 to unit during combat, and also if unit is within 2 space of an ally with 50% or higher HP. Inflict special cooldown count charge -1 on foe per attack during combat. Okay, that seems alright. So at a base, you get an HP boost and then attack res +7 in most scenarios. The HP boost is nice because, again, that does help her not only with her sustain to meet HP thresholds, but also to increase the debuff on the enemy. So that's nice. I mean, the 5, and also just survivability in general, right? That being said, I don't know if it's enough to make Fire Flood boost like that desirable as an A slot. It's definitely going to be for specific archetypes, and even then, I'm not sure it's necessarily the best in slot. Like, the attack res +7 is definitely great in combat boost, and the guard effect is definitely quite nice. I just feel like there are like so many other ways to get that combination of effects. So I guess like really kind of the unique element to Fire Flood boost is the HP, and you know, that does have value here, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm torn on it. Mystic Boost 4 for the B slot. Excellent, amazing skill. And then Ever-Living Domain, which of course we've seen before. So this doesn't stack with other miracles, but this effectively gives a Drive Miracle effect. Kind of doubling down on the survivability aspect. Mystic Boost 4 is going to heal her. Sparkling Sun is going to heal her. She's going to get additional HP from Fire Flood Boost. Damage reduction from Sparkling Sun as well, AoE damage reduction, and then attack debuff, significant attack debuff, scaling off of her HP. So again, it's all about the survivability here. Again, Ymir is just a gleeful delight. She's not even looking at the enemy. She's just like looking off to the side and just like just cheerful, and leaping into the air. And Air, on the other hand, is a little bit more goal-oriented, heading towards the enemy specifically. Got the blue birds in tow, flower arrangement around her, and then the duo skill neutralizes any penalty on unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit, and restores 20 HP to unit and those allies. And then they can activate it. It refreshes on odd number turns, so they can do it multiple times in a particular battle. Not a lot of frills to this, but I gotta say it's definitely a clean skill that has a lot of utility and value. I mean, right now, I would say that there's just so many penalties out there. Like, the battlefield is rife with penalties. I mean, just the last summer banner, you have the duo Shamir and Catherine that had like a ton of penalties that they bestowed, and this is like the counter to it because it actually neutralizes any penalty on unit and allies, so it just gets rid of all of them. And restores 20 HP. So again, that whole survivability shtick, which again, flavor-wise makes a lot of sense with Ymir as well, you know, being sort of this arbiter of light and life and, you know, growth and everything else. So again, it's very fitting. Again, it's going to be a duo skill that you can use multiple times in battle. So it's going to be very useful in that respect to gain the upper hand. So yeah. And we can see her stat line here. So she's got decent attack, really, really low speed, so min-max there. Decent defense too, and pretty high res. And that's exactly what she wants. You know, she doesn't need the speed stat. She has a guaranteed follow-up attack with as long as she meets certain conditions. She's going to hit pretty hard. Her survivability is off the charts, and she has high defenses to accompany that, which makes her really, really hard to kill. And then she's going to have the miracle effect built in too for additional survivability. And then there's healing and healing and healing on top of all of that. So that's what she's built around, and I think that works really well. Again, with the character, just because she's about life, so she's going to be really, really hard to take down. The sprite, I love that the sprite has like all of the little like water like ravine next to her and like bluebirds flying and everything else. So Summer First's paralogue story, I gotta say, I like all of them. I really do. It's dangerous to want every single unit on a banner, but I think this I think that actually might be the case here. Now, if we're going to evaluate the banner in terms of what they offer in terms of utility and value, the duo definitely has a lot going for them. They're very unique in what they do, even though they're kind of a hodgepodge of Ascended Air and Ymir. But just like stacking on all of that survivability and bestowing that to her allies, as well as having that penalty elimination. It just sounds like it's going to be a really strong effect. You know, it pays to kind of see it in practice, but on paper, it sounds very, very potent as a combination of effects. Fjorm as well is a pretty high value as an infantry sword unit. She's going to be super tanky. Against ranged units in particular, she is going to shine, just like her other incarnations, and she is going to be an infantry sword unit, which again adds a little diversity to her being a version of Fjorm with that going for her. I will say that Ivy is quite niche in her role. In order to get the full brunt of her strength, and really kind of draw out her full power, you're going to have to deploy her with a support partner. So that in and of itself is just limiting. That being said, I think that she does have a unique set of effects. Having, even without a partner, having a Brave Tome flyer is not bad. It's just that we have a lot of them, so it's not like it's that unique alone. However, she does come with that ridiculous inheritable C-slot skill for flyers. And furthermore, if you do bring a support partner with her, the range that she gets is absolutely enormous and ridiculous. So yeah, it's definitely fun to play around with that warping capability. And then we got Tharja as the 4-star focus unit. And once again, I think Tharja, she's got a good B-slot skill. She's got the trace skill tied in there, which has a lot of value. Beyond that, you know, she's going to be a +10 project. I don't think her inherent skills, other than the B slot, are really that potent. But again, easy merge project. And certainly art-wise, I think they all look fantastic. Personally, I think that, you know, Ivy and Tharja kind of edge it out a little bit, but that's not to say that Fjorm and Air and Ymir aren't looking fabulous in their swimwear, because they're all rocking it. They're all rocking it. They all look really, really good out there. So definitely a banner that's a feast for the eyes. I am definitely going to be summoning on this one. Let me know in the comments below if you guessed who the summer units were going to be and who your targets are going to be when the banner goes live. If any of them, maybe you're going to skip. Let me know down below. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you all so much for watching, for taking time out of your day to spend with us. We really do appreciate it. And until next time, let's protect those skies.